Hi, I'm Daniel, and Disenchantment is a show I really like. It has lots of flaws, I'm not denying that, but it's a really fun show, both the episodic and story-driven stuff. Characters are great, the show is often very funny, and the lore of the universe is interesting. Previously ranked all the episodes from part 1 to 3 in this video. So now part 4 is out, and has to follow up last season's cliffhanger. Does it manage to succeed at that? So, at the end, I'll talk about another Netflix show that I recommend, and an announcement made on the same day about another Matt Groening show. I was conflicted about whether to include spoilers, but I decided only very mild ones. So, only if it's in trailers or the earlier episodes, but I'll leave out the big reveal near the end of the season. Don't spoil anything super important. You can choose if you want to watch the season first. Part 4 made me realise how similar each part's story is. The formula has them reuniting in a way that's too quick. Dean doesn't have a proper conversation seeing Yusi or Elfo again. Return to Dreamland to solve a problem, and then things go back to living there almost normally again, like in part 2. However, this isn't really episodic or more connected to story elements that are very important. But some episodes in the middle of the season do feel a bit detoury, mainly episode 6 about the sea frogs. It does expand things further, and there's new stuff where we are the characters, but also forgets and puts aside so much. The last episodes have an interesting reveal and are exciting in a good episode, but I don't find it satisfying when I finished watching. Cliffhanger isn't as earned as the other season finales. I find it weird how apparently seasons were split up and two parts of one season, but part 1 and 3 have better seeming finales. It is also starting to feel like a pain to try and remember the current location of every single character in the ending. I was unsure about whether this would be the last season, and I couldn't find out if it was or not. Judging by the trailer, it looked definitive, but actually watching this season, it's obviously not. Even before I got to the cliffhanger, the pace is not an intended finale. I don't know if the show got renewed. It should because it can't end here. Part 3 felt like it was nearing the end of something, but this adds things to make the story thicker. It also continues to be subversive with loads unexpected. Some aren't like Elfo's mother who was theorised back when part 2 came out, but there's so many things that made part of my ranking video outdated. Still watch it because my opinions on the episodes are the same. Still has the strengths that I come from Disenchantment, but there's a lot of problems. This season is better than part 1 and 2, but not by a lot. It answers some of the questions, but keeps the art secret, mainly with what Dagmar's plan actually is. It ignores and sidelines the art from previous seasons, but more on that when going through characters. So, the idea of death in the show is weird because there's so many instances of you thought this character died? No, they're still alive somewhere. With actually seeing Heaven and Hell too, a character dying uses impact, because I could make a long list of fake deaths. There's only a bit more information on Bean's powers, and it becomes very connected to the idea of dreams. In the episode In Her Own Right, Sog says in Dreamland dreams are enchanted. That seems to be actually literally true, making it a very interesting plot point. While problems are still there, I still really enjoy most of the season. Comedy remains to be funny, mainly with how great the dialogue is. You see an Elfo, although the problems with Elfo's character, have interactions that are golden. Same with many other of the characters, that adds to the comedy. However, one problem that happened last season that got bigger here is the use of dragged out jokes. There are many moments, like one scene in the pit pat of little feet, which might be intentional for how dragged out it is. The show naturally is 22 minutes, but most episodes are younger by a couple of minutes. The show still has lots of great comedy, even with that issue. Animation is beautiful for how all the outlines go with the locations, especially Steamland, although we barely see it this part. After getting used to them, I like the designs for the similarities and difference from Matt Groening's other works. The lighting is incredible. Some of the CG is poor, but some begins to blend very well, making it such a great show to look at. There are a lot of characters in Disenchantment, and with such a large cast with missed focus, this will be a long section. Starting with Bean, whose development throughout the show is one of the things that makes the show so great. Most of her development already happened, but she still continues to be a great protagonist. Alpha is a character I like, but he is kind of poorly written, and I wish the show didn't have to drop the parallels with Alpha and Bean, with the shift that deserved to be dropped. He is better here, but feels overshadowed by many other things in the show. 2 episodes with him in the focus are mainly focused on his family or the reveal about drugs. Lucy started part 4 in heaven, which makes sense if you consider how upbringing is tied to the idea of heaven. He gets out early when I thought he would get less focus this season, kinda like he did in part 3, but that didn't happen, I'm glad. He has more of an actual character arc and new dynamics. Lucy was his best this season. Zog gets over his insanity easily and shaves his hair in a religious like place. Comes back to Dreamland and he and Bean decide to share the throne, and I really like that plot idea and how their relationship is on way better terms since part 1. What happens to him this part, like Ursula's returns, that ends up being important in its effect on things. Dagmar has been getting worse every appearance. At first there was such a reveal and intriguing villain that showed Disenchantment was more than it seems. But her inclusion is repetitive and disappointing for being so mysterious. She only appears at the start and end of each season with only a singular new piece of information when we need more. Speaking of, Oswald barely appears and didn't do anything. He was a major character in part 3 with the secret society and him trying to overthrow the crown, but once again he had missed potential all over him. Another character who barely appeared is Una, who was snubbed. I liked her before part 3 and it's upsetting that she only got 3 minutes screen time. Eric comes in and he has changed in personality, probably because he is growing up and may interact with someone who I won't mention for spoiler reasons. Lloyd and Becky aren't dead, which I didn't expect, but I don't see why I need to return. They are weak villains who get pushed aside halfway through, for Freckles and another spoiler character as the villain. Jerry came back, and I wish the trailer didn't reveal this. I really liked this at first for how great he is, but likely of this season he was pushed aside to where it's easy to forget he is back. Alpha Gunderson got only one appearance, but it caused me to be conflicted about what he is doing and if he's young or not. Although the mermaid doesn't get much actual appearances, she's mentioned a lot and I don't mind that for the type of character she is. Top Girl is obviously going to reveal Dreamland later in the story. This part gets actual personality speaking with UC. One character I think didn't even appear at all is Merkama. After 3 episodes last season, but now where is he? There's also more stuff involving the elves and frogs as well. This was a good season, maybe even great, but I don't feel satisfied when finishing it like I usually do in Disenchantment parts. It also sidelined the lot of characters and follows the Disenchantment formula, which part 3 part evoke away from. Might need to rewatch to better decide my thoughts. Conclusion, I give Disenchantment part 4 8 out of 10, and even so, it's leaning closer to an 8.5. I know this review felt negative, but the good stuff is usual Disenchantment stuff. If you like the previous seasons before, then it's definitely worth watching. Part 3 is better, but this is still a great part, and I'm ready to wait for another part. If there is one which hasn't been confirmed yet, this is the month of next animation, because a week before this there was the 3rd season of Kid Cosmic. I haven't reviewed it, but I have been watching it before, but season 3 blew me away with a plot twist. It should have been predictable, but it's actually very surprising and a great ending, especially the meaning which I realised of the whole show rejecting episodic storytelling, and I might expand on that after I watch the whole show in a different video. The overall show is 8 out of 10, but season 3 is 9 out of 10, and it's worth a watch. So, Futurama is getting a 4th era. I was wanting maybe another movie, but 20 episodes seems a bit much. I'm still excited to continue more with these characters, and the revival era is underrated. So the whole vendor voice actor thing is probably fake for promotion, cause it's the most iconic voice. If he is replaced, I don't mind if the new voice is fine. With this information, I plan to make more videos than all 3 Matt Groening shows, even if they get less views than average. The end.